Hello, everyone. And our clock is started early on us. I apologize for that. Bobby Swofford, Blair Cartwright with it's a hospitality room, so I guess we're going to do even shorter show. I'll have to work on resetting the clock in the future. Mr.
Can we get
Swofford,
a
how are you
can we get a shot
today?
clock? Can we get a reset, please? I'm good.
We're going to
I'm
have to
good,
go to,
buddy.
or better yet, let's go to the monitor. Oh,
Yes.
no,
That's the
no.
best way to drag this thing out even longer. Go to the monitor.
Oh, geez. All right, well, let's just do it. Let's just get straight to the headline. He's gone. So who's next?
Hmm.
It just skipped over the Muslim graphic. But hey,
Yeah.
he's gone. Whatever. He's toast.
Hmm.
Who's next? Who's on your list?
I mean, so there's just so much to unpack with this because I was dead set on there's no way he's leaving. There just
Hmm.
hasn't been enough that's happened to force Eric Musselman to leave, and then the last couple of days have transpired, and obviously once the news leaked that he was interviewing at USC, everybody knew he was getting that job because that doesn't
Yeah.
leak out unless the job's already been offered and accepted.
Yeah.
Um, so Eric Musselman leaving Arkansas leaves a gaping hole. I mean, and this may come off as homerish. That's a top 25 job in the country. There's no question between the fan base, the facilities they have, and I'm not talking about just Bud Walton. The practice facility is considered top 5 or 10 in the country. I mean, so the facilities they have, they're gonna attract a lot of names. But what can you get is the question. Can you get a Beard to leave Ole Miss after one season? Can you convince the Creighton coach to leave what he's already built and take over a program like Arkansas, which is just as crazy? Um, so to answer that question today, I think a lot of people want the Beard rumors to be
Hmm.
true, but does everybody just automatically forget and just scrape over what happened at Texas? Obviously, he's
Yeah.
had a lot of success. He's won inside the state of Arkansas, but there's baggage there. There was baggage with Musselman when they hired him, and everybody knew that.
Hmm.
So to answer the question, I think it's somebody that we haven't heard. I think it's a name that's nobody's under thinking about. And I know the Iowa State coach is sexy, the Kansas State coach maybe, and I even saw somebody mention maybe the North Carolina State coach after the run that they're on. They're in the Final Four. This is how crazy things get at this time.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's a name that nobody's really talking about right now, but come what is today, Thursday, come Saturday afternoon, it's going to be a name that's floated out there. I mean, Grant Yurchek knew this was coming for a week, if not longer, because he knows
Should
that
have.
Musselman's been, yeah, because he knew that his coach was floating his name out there for other jobs, whether it be SMU or anybody else. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's Beard. I don't think it's the Iowa State coach. I certainly don't think it's Tang at Kansas State. But I think it's going to be a name that get some fans excited. It's not going to be a Kelvin Sampson name. It's not going to be anything that big, but I think it will be a name that get fans excited because there's a lot to work with if you're an Arkansas coach.
Okay. Let me show you Trilly Donovan, who follows coaching searches, one of the people I follow on Twitter, has said Chris Beard, Jerome Tang, Will Wade. Not a bad threesome. I don't know. Wade, when he was at LSU, pissed everybody off in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Uh, Tang, he did not have a good year, second year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then Beard, the big question on Beard is, like you said, the charge at Texas. Um,
Yeah. And but if you can brush the stuff with Beard
Petrino.
out, yeah. But if you're gonna, that's the exact point. If you're gonna rehire Bobby Petrino after everything he's done,
Yeah.
then hiring Chris Beard's nothing. And hire what Will Wade did at LSU, mind you, FBI
Yeah.
wiretaps and all, doesn't matter. Like
Hmm.
all it's about wins and losses. So if you can overlook what Petrino did, it doesn't matter what Beard did or what Will Wade did.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. You can't play the morality clause now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Josh Schertz at Indiana State is a name
Yeah.
that the timing of it is bad, obviously. But I mean, he was probably going to be the Louisville coach, but his team kept
Mm-hmm.
winning in the NIT. So that timing is such a huge as you know, is such a huge factor in a coaching search.
Yeah.
Who can be available? I'm with you. I don't think Beard is the guy because Ole Miss has seen this coming and they can rally the troops, circle the wagons, raise the money, whatever. Unless he
Mm-hmm.
really wants out of Oxford. That's the thing. Now, since everyone knew this was going to come, and all the likely candidates, it gave the chance for those athletic directors and fans and whatnot to circle the wagons. We see all the time in a football search. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's reports Hunter is at the Final Four. That used to be where a lot of these deals got done, but now with
Mm-hmm.
NIL and the portal, that's kind of out the window. This almost an old school search. How realistic is it to even have? Everybody wants a new coach now, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you have one in 48 hours. Realistically, now granted, you should have known this was coming, and if you did, we'll get to all that in a minute.
Yeah.
But is it even realistic to think that they'll have a coach in place by this weekend?
No, I don't think so. I mean, because he hasn't even officially left. I mean, this is well, obviously we're basing it on I know Rothstein took to Twitter, said it's supposed to be finalized tonight. There's some reputable sources that have said that he's gone, but as we know, the Arkansas hasn't said the job's open. So I mean, honestly I think if you do anything before Monday, you're doing it a little prematurely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's been a hire a little closer to home for me that I thought should have been opened up, and UCA's athletic director says he's stepping aside, and they instantly name his replacement in the same article, the same press
Mm-hmm.
release.
Yeah.
Like maybe open it up and find out what kind of interest you have before you just automatically go and take the first guy who throws his name out there. I because other than the transfer portal, which I get is the important part of basketball right now, and there's not going
Mm-hmm.
to be anybody left on the Arkansas roster by the weekend. Let's be real about it.
Yeah.
Because you sent me the article on Twitter. Bay Fall has already entered the portal.
Yep.
So Arkansas's roster is going to be zero by the end of the weekend. So we know that. And so they're going to have to get a coach to come in and fill that roster pretty quickly. But you can do that any time of the year. I mean, as long as that NIL money is there and we know it has been there for basketball, you don't have anything to worry about. So I don't think you rush it. I think you make sure you get the right hire because this is the first significant hire that Yurichek's going to have to make since Musselman the last time, right?
Yeah, because Pittman was already in place, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So the portal opened selection Sunday. It's open for 45 days. I
Mm-hmm.
believe when your coach leaves, you get an extra 30.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. But so the portals, but the thing is signing everybody. And of course, USC is going to be real active in the portal now. So it's going to be, and some guys can come back. I know guys have committed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I saw where one of USC's big recruits went in the portal last night, and I'm talking
Yeah.
about Bronny James. So I don't know. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to be very, very, very interesting. So we'll get to our next headline of who is in charge because it has been a bizarre week on the
Mm.
Hill. And talking in terms of Hunter put out the video last week. I should have played it on the show, actually. No, I
Yeah.
don't know why I didn't think about that. I thought it was odd, his line, "You're still here." And everybody, there was a lot of do you buy the conspiracy theory that he was daring Musselman to take another job?
No, I honestly I think that he thought all the smoke was done, and I don't know if it was a conversation that he had with
Yeah.
Musselman or whatever that he's hearing from his people. I think he thought Musselman was going to be here, and
Hmm.
otherwise you don't put that video out because guess what? Hunter Yurchek looks like a clown to the nation right now
Yeah.
because he puts out a video within what 3 days his coach
Yeah.
bails on him. And,
Yeah.
and, and then the video with the podcast, I mean, my gosh, can you look more out of touch? I mean,
Yeah.
that's daring your coach to leave, or almost telling your coach to leave. When you come out
Yeah.
there, it's like, yeah, he's our head coach today, may change tomorrow. He's under contract. We don't feel strongly enough about him to give him an extra year or an extra extension. I mean, you're asking your coach to leave at that point. And honestly, you can't blame Musselman for it.
No, it's obvious that their relationship was not good.
Yeah.
Um, and so a show I was listening to brought up a good point. You didn't see Hunter around at basketball like you did at football. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
every celebration video for football, he's the first guy in the locker room and he's everywhere. He was
Yep.
not in those videos for basketball. Um, but I'm with you. Why one, you're still here. I mean, it was not funny. Um,
Yeah.
And then to go on that podcast from Southern Cal, you've got your little Hogs Plus, rah rah channel.
Yeah.
Why are you not going on there talking to some happy slappy Homer? Why
Right.
why are you talking to a California channel and not thinking it would get out? Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
it just made you go, well, obviously he doesn't talk to his coach. It
Yep.
makes you wonder what's going on. But also, what if this USC thing had fallen through? Then what do you do?
Correct.
Then you have a total dumpster fire on your hands
Yeah.
because the fans have turned on Musselman. I, I'm shocked. I know he's hard to deal with, but
Yeah.
I am shocked with the way the fan base has turned on him. Are you?
Yeah. Yes, and 100%. And I think the one thing that surprises me the most, I mean, I guess it shouldn't because they're the Homer media, and you and I know who I'm talking about when I'm going to say
Yeah.
this. There's the media members out there who turned on him even faster than the fans did.
Oh
And
yeah.
these are guys that have been pumping up and being the first there to congratulate on what a great job he's done in the 5 years. They instantly start throwing out venom pieces and hit pieces on a basketball coach that's had more success in the last
Hmm.
5 years than they've had in the last 25 years. I mean, I know today's the 30th anniversary of the national championship. Musselman's had more success in his time than they've had it on that whole span since then to now. I mean, it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's, it's laughable. But you've got your rah rah fans, and they're catering to your rah rah media. You're catering to those fans, and they're trying to tell them what they feel like they want to hear, or whatever, get them clicks or likes on their social media page. But yeah, it was amazing to see how quickly they turned. But also, it shows you what the fan base for Arkansas is. All they care about is commitment. The Arkansas
Hmm.
fans know outside of baseball and track, they're not going to win national championships. Realistically, they want to compete for them. They'd love to win one. They're not going to. And the fans know that deep down inside, but they want somebody who wants to be the coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. And as soon as you hear that Musselman's shopping his own name and it gets out that he's interviewing for a significant job, and the USC is not good at basketball, it's still a significant job because it's in LA, joining the Big Ten and on a new conference and everything that goes with that. They get the feelings hurt, and so they instantly, they go scorched earth because guess what? They're now ex-wife, ex-husband, whatever you want to
Yep.
call him, is now off to what he considers a better deal. And Arkansas fans are pissed off about it. And the only way to show that is like, oh, we'll just turn on it.
Yeah.
We'll throw his stuff in the yard.
I mean, God forbid if there'd been social media when Eddie would have crawled to Lexington. And granted, I was
Yeah.
among those who was pissed off, and I held a grudge for many years over that. And that was a shot directed at Frank. So in essence, this was what is it with bad endings for basketball coaches at Arkansas? Eddie and Frank ended poorly. Frank and
Mm-hmm.
Nolan ended poorly, and now Hunter and Eric ends poorly. It's
I mean,
unbelievable.
if your name's not Roy Williams or Mike Krzyzewski, I mean, what coach AD relationship does end well?
That's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
you're either going to, and I know I've said this 1,000 times on the podcast. It's the Batman thing. It's like you live long enough to be the villain, or you die a hero. And guess
Yeah.
what? Musselman lived long enough. He had enough success, but he chose to leave. So guess what? He's the villain.
True. Yeah. It's insane. I mean, he left. He's leaving the pro. Now it was a dumpster fire this year. I think everyone
Yeah.
will agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but he showed you can win here.
Mm-hmm.
It strikes me so much how the Petrino and the Musselman eras are very similar because very hard on staff, very
Mm-hmm.
demanding, very controlling. Bobby had his losing season in year 1. Muss had his in year 5.
Yeah.
But when you're winning, people will put up with everything. And I know he
Mm-hmm.
was extremely hard on staff. Um, but that's stuff you should have found out when you're vetting for this position, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't
Now,
have come as a shock.
no, but also like, and you and I have talked about this here in the hospitality room and on the phone and in text. Like the way that Musselman builds his teams, this is bound to happen
Hmm.
because you don't hit on every transfer every year. Yeah, and luckily for Musselman up to this point, his run at Nevada and obviously what he did the first 4 years at Arkansas. I know the first year wasn't as good as everybody would have liked, he hit on the transfers.
Hmm.
And so you're talking about, what is that, 7 or 8 years? 1 out of 7 or 8 between Nevada and Arkansas is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got 7 pretty good teams and one that happens to fall on their face, nobody wants to talk about that one year that DVH lost 20 something games in a row in the SEC and finished dead last. Nobody
Yeah.
talks about that one. But he had a bad year too. Nobody, they didn't carry him out on pitchforks. I think that the fact that everything with basketball is going up, cost of
Uh-huh.
tickets, cost of parking, cost of
Yeah.
things in the arena. That now that you've got all the money being pumped into Budwell, and so things are going to be even more expensive next year. You've
Yeah.
got all this homegrown talent, and then the turmoil within the program. Now, all the rumors were one thing.
Cool.
We don't have to get into them now. But the drama that you saw on the floor, Nick Smith not wanting to play, Devo Smith leaving the team not once but twice, Trevon Brazile being hurt and being unavailable. I mean, all of these things, and the guys this year, all of a sudden they play 18, 25 minutes and then they don't play for 3 weeks. A lot of drama behind the scenes. That doesn't sit well with fans, and that's why it was so much easier for them to turn on them. Even though a lot of the guys who have left Arkansas's program, the in-state kids, didn't belong there in the first place. They
Hmm.
weren't SEC players coming out of high school, but because they were a top 100 player in the country, according to some recruiting rankings, they felt like they had to sign them. And now, guess what? They're at schools that are probably more their level.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I would say that the talent acquisition was 50-50. He always went after the
Mm-hmm.
big name recruits and
Yep.
got them, and we were all hyped up last before the start of the last season,
Mm-hmm.
but it has not panned out well. I
Yep.
mean, the state of the program shouldn't be. You have a losing record after going to the Sweet 16 3 straight years, and
Yeah.
two Elite Eights thrown in there as well. I mean, that's
I,
just not an upward, or even a bad season this year would have been making the NCAA tournament. At
yeah.
worst, making the playing game in Dayton, but not a
Yeah.
losing
But
record. But we've gone
I
over
get it.
that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sports are hard. Sometimes sports are hard, and you have bad
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Didn't happen to
But
Nick
this,
Saban. Hasn't happened to Kirby Smart in a while, but sometimes it
yeah,
happens.
yeah. But it was really bad. I mean, it
Yeah,
was a
it
really
was.
hard
Yeah.
watch this year.
It
So,
fell apart inside the locker room, which caused it to fall apart on the court.
oh yeah, without question, without question, there was turmoil in the program. So, and now with NIL, and you have the factions, the Little Rock faction, the Northwest Arkansas faction, apparently with NIL. Who's
And then
going
the
to
email
make
that got
this?
sent this week.
Oh yeah. On top of that,
Yeah,
who is going to make this hire? I mean,
I don't know.
can you make a hire to bring everybody together? Is Beard that guy? I don't know, because I would assume he'd have support from Little Rock, but then I can see, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Hmm.
We're almost back to the great stadium debate in a sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there one coach out there that you can say, okay, he's going to bring the fan base together? Is it Brad Underwood at Illinois? Is he going to say that our Arkansas is a better job? No. I
No.
mean, I don't know because of all the coaches that have been floated out there. Shaka Smart at Marquette, who can't win in the tournament, by the way, so I don't know why you hire him. Uh,
Yeah.
all these names that are out there, like, why would you go out and leave where you're at, what you've already got established, to come to Arkansas, where clearly they have unrealistic expectations if they've run. Granted, we don't know all the stories, and everything you
Hmm.
hear now is Muss wanted to leave, not that he got ran out. But if you're a coach on the outside, you may be thinking they just ran off a coach who was in the Sweet 16 3 straight years.
Oh yeah. Well, it's very similar to when Nolan got canned. Nobody wanted the job because it's like they just forced out a legend, and now it's like, well, you got the AD releasing videos asking why you're still here, and you got to look somebody in the eye and say, I want you to be my coach.
It's Hunter Yurchek went from being an athletic director that everybody in the entire state thought has done nothing but hit home runs
Hmm.
to now he has got 1 maybe 2 years left if he doesn't make perfect hires in this and whatever happens with the football program after this year, or he's out the door.
Oh, I would agree. I think he's become victim. We saw this happen with Jeff Long, becomes victim of the celebrity of being the Arkansas AD. You get caught up in that whole being a celebrity
Mm-hmm.
and being a social media person and all this other
Yeah.
junk. Just be the AD in the background, man. Let the kids be the face of the program. Let the coaches be the face of the program. Let them be in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, You don't have to be in every video, in every locker room after every celebration. You can be, but step back. Let them be a front and center. But
Agree, 100%.
who knows? Who knows? All right, let's go on to another headline. How about March Madness? Yeah, it's been mad. It's been wild.
Yeah.
Um, we've got a great Final Four. Before we get into the Final Four, though, the Portland 3-point line being 9 inches short. I get everybody's upset. The one thing, and I'll ask you, why on earth they shoot around on that floor before the games? I mean, we've been to tournaments. We know how it works. I
100%.
can't believe nobody on the team noticed that because the 3-point shooters on each team, that's the first thing they do is go to the 3-point line.
Yeah. So the easy thing is to automatically blame the NCAA, blame the site, blame the officials, blame somebody. And we see this happen a few times when all of a sudden, at halftime of a women's game, they realize they're playing with the men's ball, right?
Yeah.
But you just said it. The people on the floor who have the ball in their hand, who are stepping up to the 3-point line, do that all year long. That is their job, to go out and play basketball, handle that basketball, and shoot that basketball. And when they don't realize it for 2 or 3 days, or 3 or 4 days, however long it is, yeah, should they have somebody double check that? Absolutely. But those players should have recognized it.
Yeah, I'm just stunned that none of the players noticed that. As many
And all
shots
these
as
people
they take. Yeah.
And all the people watching it on TV because you can see it with the naked eye. They're like, hey, that looks really close.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because we're not talking 2 inches. I mean, we're talking 3/4 of a foot.
Yeah, when they moved it back and you could see the gap between the
Right
paint.
here.
Yeah.
Man, so this is an 11-inch piece of paper. No, we're talking like this right here. That's noticeable.
Yes. Well, even after they corrected it and you had that, and they didn't fill in the paint, which is silly. It's like, oh, let's just draw more attention to it. So yeah, just unbelievable. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the Final Four predictions. UConn, Alabama, NC State, Purdue. Does Alabama have a chance?
I'm going to say no, just because UConn is just beating the brakes off of everybody. A 30-0 run, 30. That's unreal. That's video game type stuff. That doesn't happen in high school. Teams don't go on 30-0 runs. How does that happen in the Elite Eight?
I've seen it one time. UConn women against Arkansas in the 4 in the fall went on a 32-0 run. It was just deafening. But anyway, and then UConn's plane has issues. They don't get to Phoenix until like 4 a.m. this morning.
Yeah.
Danny Hurley is using that as motivation. His team may house Alabama. I mean, Nate Oates. Yeah. That was probably the worst thing that happened to Alabama was UConn's plane being late.
The only thing I can point to with UConn's program that they do wrong is the way that Dan Hurley does not stop yelling at officials. Like the entire game, they're up by 30, and he is chirping about a walk call or a block.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that you can look at that program and say they don't do right. It's literally just focus on your team beating the brakes off everybody. I mean, they're so good. I mean, to me, UConn, Purdue, everybody else. That's how I kind of see this thing.
Can Purdue beat them?
Yeah, because they've got a big inside that can bang with their 7-2. Edie can, because Illinois had no answer for the big 7-2 kid inside, and Edie is an answer for that. And so they're going to be able to at least have the first line of defense. I'm not saying they got options for 2 through 5, but at least they got defense option number 1. And I think that's going to be the key that they can maybe keep it close. But UConn is so much better than everybody else.
Oh yeah. If Purdue's guards can hit the 3, they got a puncher's chance. But when they don't hit shots, we've seen what happens. So, the third, if they don't do the third place game anymore, but that might be interesting. NC State
might be a good game.
Alabama. So we'll see. Women's Final Four. Everybody, of course, watched the Iowa LSU women's game. It was very entertaining. It was actually a good game. And Caitlin Clark is Pete Maravich. Quit comparing her to Steph Curry. She's Pete Maravich. I mean, the
Hmm.
passing, the shooting, it's literally the same. Um,
Yeah, she does it all.
it's incredible. So Iowa, Yukon,
Hmm.
Beckers, when healthy, is amazing. Does Yukon, or actually, does Iowa have a chance to win the title? Because everyone kind of concedes South Carolina is like
Yeah.
the Yukon men.
Yeah, Iowa is going to beat UConn and maybe handily. I think they're a better team. They're more complete, but they're not touching South Carolina. I mean, this is like Purdue. Purdue's a really, really good team most years, but they're about to run into UConn. And the same thing on the women's side. South Carolina is untouchable for the most part, especially if you don't have a big. And Iowa is not going to be able to bang with South Carolina. They are just
Yeah,
going to bully them inside.
yeah. Here's the
I mean,
crazy thing: South Carolina. Can you name one player?
nope.
Isn't that nuts? I
But I
mean,
couldn't. I
everyone's
couldn't
talking
name
about the
five players.
ratings.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't name five players in all of women's basketball, and two were in the LSU Iowa game.
Well, granted, I mean that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Everybody's like, "Oh, well, the women's game's arrived." You still can't name one player off South Carolina, and other
hmm,
than Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark,
yeah.
you know, who you
And
got?
Paige Beckers for UConn. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah,
And
but
every Arkansas player who transferred.
yeah, well, yeah, that goes without saying. But I mean, and Beckers has been hurt, or else she would be a
Yeah,
bigger name. So,
yeah.
um, all right, we have not a lot of time, but a big series. I guess Ole Miss comes to town. Do the Hogs
Yeah.
sweep?
I'm going to say no, but they take two or three. Hagen Smith is just filthy. He's due for a bad outing, but I don't think it comes tonight.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they'll roll too. Hit us up on the socials. Send us an email. Final word.
See ya.